showBANFFshow.
Hey, welcome to the showBANFFshow where we celebrate mental health, what people are up to, and startup culture. Today we have an amazing guest, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Sure. Michael Remando, artist based out of Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan. I've been making art for about 10 years. Yeah, something like that. And I've kind of just been trying to run with it as far as I can, I guess. And here I am today. I'm, brought some paintings out that I've been working on. And
Can I lift it?
yeah, definitely.
These are so cool. That is so cool. And what inspires your art? How'd you start this? How did you start working your way and doing all this?
Well, it kind of started as a date night with my wife, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet.
Yeah, and I just loved it. I don't know, and then kind of just didn't stop doing it after that. It was just a fun night, so just did it, and then I just really didn't stop. It just was great.
Wow, and next thing you know, you're here, you're in art galleries, look at you go. And you said you work on 8 paintings at a time, you were telling me earlier too.
Yeah, definitely, that happens. If you want to transfer over a color from here to there, sometimes you just have to switch it up a bit. Sometimes you use the same, but it's a mixture of the two, kind of. Yeah, so you end up working on potentially up to 8 at a time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really smart because or at least when I'm painting, when I make a color and I have going back and forth, it's a waste sometimes.
Yeah.
Or trying to get that exact color. So you just have it there ready to go.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, you have different techniques where you can seal it off, and if you need to save it for a different portion of the day, then you can do that. But other than that, just try and mix as much as possible to make sure that you get it all.
Wow. And what kind of paints do you like working with? Because there's oil, watercolor, acrylic, all sorts.
Actually started with acrylic, and it was great, but I just found that they were drying a little too quick. So I switched over and painted with oils, and then those were great because you can really do anything. You can water.
You can even go for lunch if you want to come back and still ready to go.
Totally, a couple of days even. But I mean, you can do so many things with oils, so it's great from that perspective. You can, water them down so much that they're like a watercolor. You can have them, quite thick and clumpy on the canvas, right? So they're just so universal. But the only thing is they have a lot of error time, but they also have a lot of dry time. So you can't paint as, closely to another line quick. I mean, you can do it, but it's just a scenario of it just takes a little bit longer or a little more finessing.
Wow.
So now here I'm at actually acrylics, and I find that they work in the perfect conditions for me for the speed that I want to go, really. Yeah.
That is really cool. I was going to say, if this is oil, I don't know how you get so smooth. And even acrylic, I always get brush lines. What's your secret not to get that's tough.
It is kind of tough. Really, it's just layers. It's, probably 4 layers on this yellow here. This is more opaque, the color itself. So this is, I think, 3 layers, but it's just really water it down quite a bit. So it's just more like a wash other than
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why you get that
That's how you get so smooth.
Yeah.
I've been wondering how people do that, because for me, it's just a brush line.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool. You just taught me something.
Oh, cool. That's sweet.
Wow.
You can just really build them up, and but I mean, depending on how thick you want or how you want the color to look, you just add or subtract brush strokes.
That is really, really cool. And I can't stop, I can tell from a distance, they'll just pop from a distance, which is so cool. And the blocky form you have is really, really cool and fascinating to look at. Do you hand draw all this, or what's your mindset when you start drawing all this?
Oh, okay, that's interesting, because it's like a part of a digital process sometimes.
Ooh.
So it'll start digitally, especially The smaller ones, these are like 20 by 20s or whatever. These ones I'll just hand draw out and then block the colors in just, straight out of like my head or something like that. But the bigger I go, like 48 or whatever, then I typically usually want to draw them out and work the colors out on my tablet first.
Oh.
So then you can, avoid all the errors that you might possibly make. As for these are like the learning process of color and how to put this much color here and that much color there per se, right? It's like it's just the learning process of it, and then to really hone it in, you just do it digitally or whatever.
Wow, I have to ask, what program do you use? Because whenever I'm doing my pieces, like I always mix up the colors. I'm just like, darn, I wish I went with this color. Like, what program do you use for that?
Oh, I would use just Procreate. It's like probably the best app for drawing. I mean, you can't really there's one thing that it doesn't do, which is vector out your drawing. So you can't scale them up super easily. You got to go take the drawing itself and then transfer it into like an Adobe program or something like that, and then vector it up if you want. But I mean, for the things that I do with it, it's fine, and it seems to work. And like the app itself,
and you're getting amazing pieces out of it too.
Yeah.
So you're making it work.
Yeah, definitely. It works for me, and I think it's probably the best tool I can use on this tablet here. And I mean, that's just the whole transfer process it's pretty great how I can, draw it on here and, pick the color exactly the way you want it and then just transfer it up.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And do you have like people requesting things like, hey, can you make this animal for me? Or do you like purposely draw something and then have them decide? Or
Oh yeah,
your
totally.
style?
I'll get some commission pieces from time to time, and I mean, I just had one, I'm still working on it, and we just, about a month and a half ago, we finalized all the different color and the layout of the painting. I mean, from that perspective, it was pretty cool because we'd work on a section of it, and it would, the client would be like, oh, this is maybe too much over here, and maybe we're gonna tone that down or whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's, fiddle around. Let's fiddle around with it and get it till it's absolutely perfect. And actually, we finally finished the agreement about it and then just transferred on, and it's pretty sweet actually how that kind of worked out, that one.
That is so exciting. And how much do you charge for a piece like this? Or does it depend on time? How much?
No, typically I just do like size, and so I'll have like a price list. This would be a 20 by 20 and they would be $5.75, I think. And then I don't know, I finished 2 48s while I was here, and those are like $25.50.
Wow, that's pretty good pricing for this.
Yeah, it's
Love it.
yeah, thank you. There's a lot of time and effort that goes into it. Specifically when coloring these hard lines, when I put those hard lines in,
The
I
fact
can't.
that you go over and over is what impresses me.
Yeah.
You haven't made a little oopsie.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's plenty of oopsies in there, but as soon as I make one, I have to do it over again. And typically I find that when I'm going against those lines, if I breathe or don't breathe as I use my brush stroke, then I can control it. But as soon as I breathe, you'll get this little burr out. So,
Yeah.
and then you got to smooth it out too, right?
Holding your breath there.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's funny how it works like that, but I mean,
It's a real trick.
yeah, totally, hey? But it works so good, right? As soon as I breathe, it'll just, every single time it goes out. So it's just a scenario. But I mean, in the middle, I can do whatever I want. I can just go whatever. But I usually try and make it in such a way that the brush strokes aren't perfectly legible. But I mean, when I bring the paint down so much, I mean, you can't really see them anyway.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
And I love that. To be honest, now that I think about it, I think I hold my breath at some point too. It's something you do for control.
Definitely. It's just one of those things that you just learn along the way. Another trick is to use your your pinky actually. So as you're bringing it in, so that balances out your brush. And when you actually take your brush and you lay it down, so then you just using that tail end. The longer the brush, the better the brush stroke that you can get, or I guess the cleaner the line you can get.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
And it's probably more straighter too. Like I'm gonna try that next time. Like that's so cool. Like I know they can't see it on the camera, but I've been like trying against the table here, and it's so cool.
Definitely. Hey, that's like little tricks that you can learn to make your life a little bit easier. Always come in handy at some point, right?
Wow. And what would you give a newbie person starting out wanting to do dates nights like you and your wife were doing? Like, I think that is so cool.
Definitely. I think it's a scenario if you can allow yourself to just create something. I mean, it's a good atmosphere and it's fun because then you can just, source through some new music or whatever it so happens to be, right?
That's so true. Does like the music like change your mood when you're painting and be like, you know what, let's change that green or let's.
Totally. I mean, it's like, it influences all of it because I mean, without music, it's tough to create things. Like when there's nothing playing, you need like another art to influence like what you're doing. But I don't know how that looks from a perspective of
I feel like exactly what you mean.
Yeah, like a musician or photographer or something. Like a photographer would be listening to music. A musician, they have to have things in front of them, like visual things probably. Yes. I don't know exactly, but I would think they would have to have something, right?
And all those little tad bits that like inspire pieces. Like whenever I'm doing like a photo shoot, I'm always thinking of like all my animation or like all the animation cartoons out there and like movie sets. And I'm just like, ooh, that inspires my pictures.
Yeah.
Or like music inspires my art. Or like, I totally get what you're saying.
Sometimes I'll play like two different songs at once. There's just like, if you have something of this nature and then you have the exact opposite. Ooh. And if you just have one a little bit higher, one a little bit lower, like background music or elevator music, right?
Yeah.
And then you just have something on top of it. It's like, well, you still like what's in the background, but you also like what's in the foreground too. So just taking a few elements and just trying really almost anything, just to influence what you're doing, I suppose.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to try that. Like, I've always drawn whenever I hear music, but like, I've never tried two different sounds before. Like, that is fun.
Yeah.
Like, so much fun. Was it your wife's idea or yours?
For the two songs, it was mine. She doesn't like when I do it.
She's just like, what the heck, man?
But she's like, that's just too much for me.
She's like, that's it, scribble, scribble, scribble.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. What kind of things does she like to paint?
She just usually it's abstract, right? She hasn't painted so much after we did that date night, but I mean, she still does from time to time, and it's usually just an emotion or like an abstract or something like with my kids, right, to help them out from a different perspective. She's really creative in other ways, like how she does things and just how she dresses and her thoughts and opinions and stuff like that. Like she's really creative from that perspective, and like different types of like dinners, and like she does like really kind of interesting stuff from that perspective. She doesn't really do painting so much anymore, but I mean,
a different form of artistic.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And how old are your kids?
Oh, I have a 7-year-old daughter, Prairie, and a 9-year-old son, Gus.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. They keep us quite busy, and I mean, bike rides and scooter rides and soccer, dancing, all that sort of thing. My daughter really likes to paint. My son really likes Lego, and I feel like that's their kind of arts. My daughter's the drawing book. She's always drawing, painting, whatever. Wow. My son is like building Lego, and like that's his sort of art, and like that's what he uses to source out problems, think about things, relax himself, have fun. Like, like there's Lego I swear, in every corner of our house because he's been there and forgot maybe one piece here or there, right?
It's just like, oh, you know what? I will take that piece. Or you know what?
Yeah.
Let's put there for later.
Yeah, something like that.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and my daughter, she has like 8 drawing books. I mean, I told her, like, Kate, let's have one drawing book. Let's always make sure you have one. And then as soon as she heard that, she just went through like 7 in a row. And like, yeah, like she just had so much to draw.
Wow.
It was pretty cool to see how that happened.
What does she like to draw? And like how big are the books?
Like, I mean, there's probably like 50 pages in each book, and she just will draw everything. She'll draw her dog, she'll draw her cat, she'll draw her brother, she'll draw her family, she'll draw trees, she'll draw
her brother's Lego tower.
Yeah, she'll draw stuff like that. It's like funny how it works like that. My son, he'll make these crazy trucks. He'll buy Lego. He'll have it for about like a week or something like that, and then he'll take it completely apart and then have built like this crazy contraption of a truck where it's got like 7 wheels on the back, and it's like, you know, got all these cool things on the front of it where it's more aerodynamic this way or that way. It's like, that's his artistic sort of form, like, and it's interesting to watch how he does it. He'll take one thing and it's like, he should almost work for Lego because he'll just make it better, right? It's like crazy how he does that.
Future engineer designing cars, all sorts, like the possibilities are endless.
Totally.
Like, so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet how those things come about and how like you can watch those things happen in your children.
It's so cool. It must inspire your art too. Like, I know it inspires mine. Like the piece I'm working on, after working at the kids camp, I'm just like, that's it. I want to do a full art piece after this inspiration.
That's cool. Yeah, I hear you. Definitely, they're always inspiring different thoughts and emotions and things in my art. I mean, I do these paintings, but I also do different types of like design work.
Wow.
I might have, no, I don't have anything on me, just on my tablet. I can kind of show you.
Let's see.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we'll like show the audience here too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so like this drawing here.
That is so much fun. Like, it looks like a cartoon and I love it already. Like, that is so much fun. And the box, like everything.
Yeah.
And even the fun words down below. What do you think is your favorite art piece of all time? Like, you have multiple talents and different skills, I can already tell. Like, you do construction, you do this, you like online digital, like it's endless.
Yeah, like.
So cool.
I don't know, like, probably like best artist that I ever have seen. Like, I guess I've never seen them in person, but Jean-Michel Basquiat, he's like, I don't know. I like his art because he just went for it, and he just did it, and it was not timely, but precisely timely or something like that. He just went for it, and it was just really inspiring to see that, because we're always bound by certain things, right? Or maybe not bound, but just maybe mentally bound or something like that. So it's just interesting to see how he kind of just did it.
That is so cool. And like the inspiration that comes from that too.
Definitely.
Wow.
This is a fun drawing. It was just like, the title of it is The Last Time You Cried, because it's like a scenario when you're on the beach. Maybe you're 7 years old, maybe you're 9, maybe you're 13, maybe you're 18. I don't know, but it's probably the last time you actually cried for a reason of someone kicking over your sandcastle or something like that. So it's just kind of an interesting piece per se.
I love how you made a sandcastle. Like, it's just like, it's like so many childhood memories just pop up there. Just like, oh my God.
Yeah, this is just like fruit. Fruit's amazing. So you take Gucci print and you have fruit print.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's so cool. Oh my gosh, I love the little kiwi in there.
Yeah.
Like, and the bananas, like, those are so cool. And even the color contrast you added. Like, they just pop.
Thank you. This is just like piece of art on like diversity, I guess. I don't know exactly, but it's just, I just drew it.
It reminds me of like a book.
Yeah.
There's so many more stories too, or at least that's how I'm interpreting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. It's just like a book of people, right?
Whoa.
And all different types and just, I mean, it's just an interesting drawing from that perspective, I think. This is just funny.
Booyah.
Booyah.
Booyah. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, these are so much fun.
And this is like that one commission that I was talking about when I was working with the client. And this is one of the drawings that we didn't pick for it, but I mean, I like the colors of it anyway.
Is this like the same?
They are closely to the same, yeah.
Yeah.
But this one doesn't have the stripes in it, right? This one's a completely different story of it.
I love how you're adding like different like stripes and things to make it pop and stand out differently. Wait, what the heck? It looks like a boat, but it looks like buildings, but then it looks like things, like it looks like a child's, like you want to go and play with it, but it's confusing and exciting.
Yeah, it's like a scenario of just taking gravity out of the scenario. Like it's,
Whoa.
just imagine life without gravity, right? And which way's up, which way's down, and just kind of place things wherever. And these are the types of drawings that are just like, I just do them for fun. And I think they're more like, for me or something, like on a personal level.
Yeah. To be honest, that's so inspiring. Like, oh my gosh, let's go bananas here.
Let's go bananas.
Like, this is so amazing. Like, even the color contrast, and I like the little dots. Like, it makes it stand out. Like, why is that dotted? Or like, why? Like, it's so like, I have like a pop feel your art. Like the color schemes, the choices you're using.
Yeah, it's like just different plays on thought and like throw kind of things together. And this is really where you can play like, you don't have to own it. I mean, you can mess it up as many times as you want, but this is where you can play around with things. And these are just, I don't know, they're just,
where you just gotta play and have fun, get in there.
Yeah.
Like, just go for it. Like, I love it.
Thanks.
These are so cool. If people want to check out more of your art, where can they do that?
Just have it on Instagram, Pineapples for Prime Minister.
Pineapples for... As soon as Lee told me that, I burst out laughing. I was like, this is brilliant. I already love this guy and I haven't met him.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's just a clever play on words. It's kind of just funny.
It's so much fun. Actually, I had no clue what kind of art you did when I heard pineapples or that I was wondering if you were gonna go with a political side or like what kind of artist you were. And it's so cool because I'm never sure whenever Lee's just like, hey, get over here. And I'm just like, I'm always inspired and I love the name.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just for fun, really, I guess.
I can see how you came up with like even in your artwork, like with the pineapples or like the different fruit, are you putting things together that like mismatch to make people like think? Like I could.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
like
I don't know.
sometimes it's just pure interest, or maybe it's, I don't know, it's just playing with something. Like I don't know.
Just having fun.
Yeah, really, that's what it is. I think just
Yeah.
playing around with different things and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't.
That is so cool. And when you like get stressed out, whether it's your job or whatever, what do you do to like kind of relax? Or
This is typically it. Like normal day to day, I have a job. I do construction safety, and then this is kind of how I shed that stress away. It's just kind of through this process that things come about, I guess.
wow.
Yeah, it's like.
And I could see this being so relaxing.
Oh, definitely. It's like very tough to like paint those straight lines, but it's also very relaxing to do it at the same time. So I have to concentrate quite a bit to do it, but I don't know, for some reason it's just nice to be able to sit there and concentrate that hard on something that's just for myself, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of fun.
That is really, really cool. And even your doodles and stuff, like just sitting down and like chilling and drawing and just letting your creativity flow after a long day.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, it's just a scenario of, instead of using words, it's just using shapes and pictures and emotions. It's like having a book with no words and just pictures. I mean, like, that's been done before, but sometimes they just read on different levels, right? Especially how they're laid out and kind of put together. I actually have on here a book that I wrote.
You wrote a book too?
Yeah, I didn't do anything with it. I just wrote it for my kids because they were arguing, and I was trying to show them that they both matter, and they're both just as important. And if someone has a better idea today, the other one will have a better idea tomorrow, and vice versa. So instead,
so sweet that you actually made a book about it. Like, oh my god!
It's called "The Boy and the Girl," or "The Girl and the Boy." Just because I was like, I didn't want to hold any value to any side of it. I just wanted them to both know that they're both equally as important. So it was just the title from that perspective.
My heart, like, that is so sweet. Like, even that you drew pictures for and everything.
Yeah, do you want to see it? Should I read it out?
Can we?
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
So the boy and the girl, or the girl and the boy. So the parents, the boy and the girl. The boy and the girl, or was it the girl and the boy? Whatever it was, they went on an adventure.
Ooh.
Because where else would you go? Obviously, Saturn. We should check it out to ensure it's safe. It's safe. Wow, this place has views of the moon, trees, not teeth. Pretend buttons, shark
Beep, beep,
tooth,
beep,
beep, boop, boop, boop.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, totally. Go, don't go.
Yes.
Please do not draw on the ship, management. Why?
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's a picture of them.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I want to see monsters. I want to go fast.
Ooh.
But we haven't even explored yet. Super speed, yes. Looks safe. The girl was ready to go. Look, safe. The boy wasn't far. There was nothing odd or weird here at all. The girl hadn't mentioned to the boy that she had studied the common monster. Not afoot, intestines, scanner for love, heart that pumps grape juice,
Ooh.
games, brains, and a button.
Oh. That was so creative.
The boy was pleasantly surprised because of what he saw next. The boy couldn't believe his eyes. His sister not only studied monsters, but has learned to communicate with them. He rubbed his eyes with disbelief, thought he knew her. But this was new. Hooray! We may be monsters, but we can be civilized too. They not only were civilized, they were even cool. Who would have even ever thought? Could have been like any other night, but this was special like no other. We had visitors and visitors like no other. These visitors were not monsters at all. They seemed to follow a good path. The boy was thinking, this is peculiar. He was ready for whatever challenge was coming next. But what came next was a shock. A hipster. The boy liked trucks. The boy quickly realized that his brain would work for him and against him. Control panel, motor, senses, process, vision, auditory, coordinating, temperature, brain mechanic.
Ooh.
The boy was very smart. Extra ninja suits. But when we could finally settle in, he would always accomplish whatever it was he wanted. The boy was intricately fixing the ship, otherwise known as Star Sapper Infinity.
Yow, yow.
Ka-chung! Directions to read this page. Turn book upside down. It was clear that the girl and the boy needed to have a meeting to discuss their findings, then to formulate a plan because the Star Sapper was ready to go and it was time to eat. So the boy and the girl started loading up the ship. The girl was able to get the samples and data safely without interfering with the life amongst the monsters on Saturn. And the boy was able to write down all of his conversations that he had with the monsters. He never thought he would learn so much. He was able to fix the ship based on those findings.
Whoa.
Well, that night was a sad day on Saturn. The monsters almost tripled the amount of precipitation on the planet that night. In fact, there was so much water that the planet had shown capabilities of sustaining human and monster cohabitation. The monsters decided they'd have a meeting right away. It was the only thing that they could do to stop the precipitation. Anytime they didn't talk about saving the children or seeing the children, again, they precipitate uncontrollably. The plan was simple: to bring toys,
Ooh.
a teddy bear, candy, math skills. The children were halfway home and they sure missed their friends, and their friends sure missed them. Earth.
Ew.
The end.
That's so cute. Like, I absolutely love that. And I love how you never know what's on the next page and the creativeness. Like, even with the hippie or like the grape juice.
Yeah.
That was so well done. And they're so lucky to have you. Like, that's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, it was, when I wrote it, I was thinking, I want to give them like a lesson in like, they both matter equally, and just kind of throw things in there like surprises, like all of a sudden you turn to the next page and there's a hipster or grape juice and it's spelt wrong, and just like
Oh my gosh, yes.
and like there's periods in places where there shouldn't be, and like the story
makes them critically think.
yeah, and like the story is like kind of hard to read from time to time. Like the lettering is placed in such a way where it's like you really have to look at it, and the point of it is just to really like sink in a little bit. Like, okay, what? I got to read that again because it didn't
It's like,
line
hold
up.
on.
Yeah, something like that. It was just a story for them to hold on to, and at some point in time, if they ever needed to refer back to it, then just refer back to it, and there's just that concrete evidence, I suppose.
That is so nice. Do you think you're ever gonna write a children's book? Like, you got the art and the skill. Like,
I did write another one, but I haven't finished it yet. So
what's that one about?
give me a sec here to see what I can't. It's been like a little while since I've gotten into it.
I think these are so sweet. Like, so sweet.
Okay, it's called The Day We Lost Gravity. But I'm almost done it. I mean, I could read
Is
this
that
one
not
out.
why your drawings was inspired inspired by, that tippy one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a draw.
Story.
Yeah, I can do this one too then maybe.
Ooh.
Could we have time?
We can quickly go. And then
Okay. It was supposed to be a normal day, and it was until it wasn't. The day had begun, and it had begun like no other. There were some peculiar things. I tried to ignore what I thought I was seeing, but I couldn't keep that up any longer. Things seemed to just disappear as if it was confused. What was it that disappeared? I just kept on walking to find what I might find, because prior to it all, I had it figured out. And now that's just questionable. Houses shouldn't be upside down, and cars and trucks shouldn't be able to drive upside down and on the wall. All the things he had been seeing didn't make much sense. It just didn't add up. If you spend your whole life looking through the lens, you might just miss 359 more.
Whoa.
So let's open those eyes a bit. Life as you know it has always been this way. But now it's this way. And you know what? It's cool. Because if it never became old, then what did it become? It didn't. It's new. Boom! It was exactly what you needed. Let's live our lives in our imaginations intact and use them as we once did. Life was simple then. We have traveled so far away from that, and we need that to look forward to. Or no, we need that. We need that back. Sorry. Homemade popsicles, riding bikes, making forts, drinking out of the hose. That's what we're missing.
Oh, I get no words. You have to.
Technology is great, but when it takes the part of our life that we have always known, life is about using our senses. This is a reminder that the life has a part of it. Life has a part of it that is full of energy, vibrancy, and creativity. Your imagination has always been waiting for you to activate it. That's my last page I have in there.
That is so amazing.
Thanks.
And I really love the creativity. Like, you're making people think differently, like with every little thing. And trying. Like, it's so cool.
Sometimes I'm like, does this even make sense? Like, probably some does and probably some doesn't.
You know, I feel like for the no gravity, it's supposed to make no sense because you're trying to think differently.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
And like people bring their own interpretations onto it, and like you get to play with it. Like, I love your creativeness. Like, even with the hose and the pops, like, it's so much fun. Do you have anything you want to tell your audience before we have to go here?
Thanks for watching.
Yeah,
Hopefully it wasn't too weird for you.
Check it out. And who knows, maybe there'll be some stories in the future.
Yeah. Maybe.
Which would be so cool. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for taking the time for me too.
It was so much fun. Like, I loved this.
Thanks. Me too.
showBANFF Show.
showBANFF Show.
showBANFF Show.
showBANFF Show.
Expanding our community.